Okay, so hi everyone who is watching. I will wait for a couple more minutes and then I will start. For me, it's kind of a new thing today because I've never done a tour in English yet, and I've never was walking around holding the camera. So now I will become a real blogger. Let's see how it will turn out. So let me show you a bit around. Yeah, for now we have a fence still here because it's an archaeological site and they allow it to open only later. That's the castle square, from where I always start my walks. Yeah, here it is. So, and this is the castle. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you any additional pictures that I usually show to my tourists because I have an Android phone and it doesn't allow to show the pictures from the gallery. So if you will be interested, I can send you to them to you later. So why do I start my walks from the castle all the time? Because Cyprus is called the island of love. I will just walk around in order not to stay on one place because it will be boring. So Cyprus is called island of love, and here on the place where the castle is now, one love story took place many years ago. On 12th of May 1191, Richard Lionheart and Berengaria was getting married here. The story is a bit complicated. So Richard's mom went to Berengaria and asked her if she will want to become Richard's wife. They agreed. They met, but Richard was getting to go for a war, and also there was a religious holiday, so it was not the best time to get married. And they made a decision that they will wait until the war is over, until the holidays are over, and then they will go to the church and get married, probably in England. But on the way to the war, the ship where Berengaria was, and because they were not married, they had to go on a separate ships, got stuck near Cyprus. It got in a storm and got damaged, and Berengaria ended up here. Richard knew about it. He turned his ship back, came here, saved Berengaria, took over the Cyprus, and they decided probably to get married immediately, just not to have many more troubles later. But when they got married, again, it was 12th century. There was no castle here yet. It was a small church. So now there are no even the ruins of the church, but they built a castle on the place. Sometimes when I say castle, people imagine something very big and very impressive, like in a Game of Thrones movie. But in Limassol, the castle was a fort, and it should be protecting the city from the sea, and the sea is actually like there, so not very far, and the sea was quite well absorbing from the castle, so it was no need to build something huge and impressive with many towers and so on. Apart from being a fort, this castle also was a jail for quite some time until they built a proper jail in Nicosia in 1950. And it's from 1983. It's an archaeological museum. So they promise us that they will be open, I think, from 31st of May after the quarantine. And then we can go inside and see what they have there. So they have archaeological things from 8th to 13th century or so. So before all this area where we were walking, there are now a lot of restaurants and shops and everything. I think like until 1960s, 1970s, it was not so fancy. It was just an area where the cars was parked, where people were living. And now it's a place where people like to hang out, like to spend time with their families, with their friends. There are quite a few nice restaurants around. And also there were one of my favorite restaurants where I usually take tourists to try the national Cyprus cuisine, because the prices are not prohibitive and the quality is extremely good. So it's a touristic place, but still very nice. So for now everything is closed because we are still under quarantine, but soon it will be over. Actually, on Thursday we are expecting the reopening of the open verandas and of some other places, and a lot of people already booked their tables in the restaurants, and they're waiting very much for that, because of course everyone is sick and tired of sitting at home, of not seeing friends. Yeah, situation with self-isolation. Yeah, we were on self-isolation since 23rd of March. We were sitting at home with the allowance to get out of home once per day, with many restrictions, like we couldn't go, if you don't live across from the sea, you cannot go to the sea, so we had to walk only around our area where you live, and we had to go out only with SMS, so we had to send a code with the ID number, with the postal address, with the postal code, and with the number of the reason. So it was like shopping or going to the doctor or going for a walk or something else. There were like 8 reasons, but I only used shopping and go for a walk. And everything was closed. There was no restaurants. A lot of places start to take delivery and take away, which is cool. I hope they will keep the thing now. We have a proper delivery food application now, which is good. A lot of shops I heard start working online, but of course it's still kind of a Cyprus way, so it's slow, and sometimes they call you only after 1 week that they took the order. So you can imagine it. Some people ordered something in the beginning of quarantine, and they got it like 1 week ago, when actually it's not very useful already, but okay, what to do. So now we are on the Irenis Street. Let me pass by here. We don't have many cars, so I can go here. I love the street, and this street is one that kept its appearance from the time it was built. You can see that some buildings unfortunately are not in a good condition, like this one, and actually sometimes I see that they start to rebuilding something here, but not very active yet. But some buildings like here are very nice. They're doing the renovation, taking care of it. I always like to see, sometimes the doors are open and you can have a look inside how they have the nice inner gardens. This building, for example, belongs to Canal Lake. It's one of the radio stations in Limassol, was established in 1991. First for Limassol, and already for 20 years it goes through the whole Cyprus. And in front, can I enlarge? No. So there is a water tower. The water tower also has a story. It's kind of a symbol of Limassol. Look at this view, isn't it just amazing? I don't know, I love it. I love the streets, I love these windows and doors. I think it looks extremely cute. So that water tower was built in 1920, when the city starts to grow and the basic water supplies couldn't handle it anymore. And actually before, the whole Limassol was just like it was ending before the tower. So behind the tower it was nothing, and now most of the buildings are located there. So the tower was working till 1947, and after that it also became the basic thing and it couldn't work anymore, and first people wanted to demolish it. But at some point they looked and decided that maybe it looks too good to be demolished. They put light on it, so it actually lightning in the darkness in the evening. And recently we had an opening of a store that is like Limassol souvenir store, and they have this tower on their symbol, on their logo. So people love it now. It looks a bit rusty, but actually quite nice, matching the city, so I like that they leave it there. And we go further, and this house I also love a lot. I like the color, I like everything, and recently I found out that they rent it on Airbnb. So actually there are two houses. This is one big one. Unfortunately I cannot do the wide angle when I do video. So that's the one house. And that's the other one, so like a smaller one, and both of them are rent on Airbnb. And now I cannot get rid of the wish to try to live here at least for a month, because since I moved to Cyprus, which was 5 years ago already, that was my dream, to live in an old city. Look, isn't that cute? When I do pictures here and real photo walks, all my customers like to sit on this bike and take pictures of it. I wonder why the owner still doesn't charge me for that, but this is at the cafe, also closed for now. Nice graffiti, but graffiti I will show you much more a bit later when we go to graffiti quarter. And that's how it looks like. Again, this house belongs to someone, so they're very nicely kept. Everything is nicely painted. Very cool. Actually, when you walk around in Limassol, you will see quite a lot of such door handles made in a shape of a woman's hand. According to the legend, it's like it came from the Hamsa symbol, from Arabic symbol, and according to the legend, it's called the hand of Fatima. So here it's also this one. So Fatima was the daughter of Muhammad, and once, according to the legend, which is not proven to be right, but still, she saw her husband coming back home with another wife, and she got so upset that she started to mix her food that she was cooking, not with the spoon, but with her hand. But then people just start to like the symbol, these hands. Sometimes they add new bracelets or rings or something like that, not just a symbol of hospitality. But actually in Cyprus there were a lot of people from under whom Cyprus was, so many rulers. So maybe it's Arabic, or maybe it's just really the symbol of hospitality. This building is a student, I don't remember the word in English. It's like common area for students to live. This is a nice wall here. Again, as long as I'm not only the guide, but I'm also a photographer. It's like old city of Limassol gives me always a lot of inspiration and a lot of location to make pictures. For now, everything looks very sleepy, and it's very unusual because despite the May heat, if it would be a quarantine now, we would be already out, and all cafes were full with people, and all shops were open, and we would have a lot of tourists. But oh well, what to do? You see that people now start renovating. I don't know if they still work. I was walking here last week, like at a daytime, and all shops are doing something. They paint, they renovate, they getting ready to meet the customers after the lockdown. And it actually made me very happy because I was afraid that many shops will have to close because the situation, but looks like not so many as could be expected. So we have a lot of these cute corners here. Actually, as long as I see comments, you can freely ask me any questions about Limassol and Cyprus. I will be happy to answer them. Because usually when I walk here with tourists in life, we talk about, they ask me what they're interested in, and I talk to them, because like now the street is not very interesting and there are not many stories until we get to the next interesting point. So if you have any questions, I will be happy to tell you. Again, a lot of graffiti everywhere. Some of them are nice, some of them are just vandalism. Actually, my dream is that one day Cyprus, like Limassol old city, will become very nice, like we saw on these previous streets, where everything renovated, nicely painted, and so on. Hopefully one day it will happen like that, because see, for example, this building, it was when I moved, it was completely different color, and I don't know why they painted completely white, and now it looks very run down. Not that I really decided to move to Cyprus. Actually, my ex-husband moved here, and I moved after him. But then I fell in love with the place, and I'm still in love. And I'm always happy and thankful to him that we moved, because it's really nice, and it gave me this nice push for my career as a guide, so cannot complain. So look, now we go to the zigzag street. It's this one. Now they're also renovating. That's why it's not as nice as it should be. Actually, it's also one of my most favorite streets. Take a look. It's the street called Zigzag, and usually all the names are spelled in Cyprus. They're spelled in Greek and English, and only this one is spelled in Turkish. Probably it's because the mosque is next to it. Actually, I cannot tell you much about nightlife, but on this street, nightlife is much more active than daylight, because there are a lot of bars, and if you come here like after the sunset, you will find a bunch of locals and tourists sitting here, drinking something, talking. So I know that nightlife in Cyprus is not as stunning as somewhere in Europe, but it's not bad. Look at this here, Cyprus cats. I will tell you, once will also have some boring way, I will tell you a story about Cyprus cats. But look how nice it is around. I like the street because like 5 years ago, it was not as nice. I mean, they didn't have these colorful chairs, all these flowers and everything. It was still looking good, but not as cute as now. I think it happened like that because now we have a lot of Russians in Cyprus and a lot of Europeans who are really taking all the cafes for their personality. So they want to see not only nice food and nice stuff, but also a pretty place. And we don't know how to make Instagram pictures maybe. So now places start to fight for customers like that, and they try to do it individually. Yeah, it's extremely cozy, it's very nice. So look, talking about the mosque. The mosque is built on a floor of the Byzantine church. So in 16th century, there was a flood and earthquake. So yeah, Cyprus has earthquakes from time to time, not the big ones, but still. So this church was ruined, not completely, but most of its part was ruined. And that time Turkish were in charge in Cyprus, and they quickly decided to build a mosque on top. So the mosque is it's quite big, but for now it's not really operating because I don't know if you know or not, Cyprus is divided in two halves. So Cyprus is it's called like southern Cyprus, where we are now, and northern Cyprus, which is occupied territory. So they have 36%. It happened in 1974. The division. And as from then, we don't have so much Muslim here, so the mosque is open, but you need to be Muslim probably to know when, because they have their own holidays and their own rules to attend. So I saw it's open, don't know, maybe a couple of times, but never was inside. Maybe I need to get there just to see how it looks like. So yeah, that's also the nice street. And in front of us, it's a small theater, also being renovated, looks like. It's mostly mostly Greek theater, but I was couple of times there on Russian events. So, but actually, my stop, and actually I need to go that way. My stop is next to this graffiti. This is this old gentleman with oranges. And it's not just a random gentleman. His name is Kyriakos Philippidis, and he was a real man who really was selling his juice here, right on the spot. But he would turn 100 years this year, but unfortunately he died 2 years ago. And the most sad thing that he died not because he was old or because he was sick, but because he got in a car accident. And he not even died in a car accident, but he got in a hospital where he was not paralyzed, but he could not move, and he was so sad about it that he didn't have any force to live anymore. That's extremely sad because he was very nice. He loved his tourists. He always was taking pictures with them. But okay, 98 years is also a big age already, and before he started to sell juice, he was a famous shoemaker. And now behind the theater, a bit further there, one of his daughters, because he had 6 kids, took over the business, and now she's making shoes there with her son. So it's a big business now. But the juice business no one took, probably it didn't bring that much money. So these arches are very nice. Unfortunately, the restaurant doesn't open, never, but they still always have these chairs here. I don't know why it happens like that. And before these arches, there were much more of those. They were coming, if you see, behind the restaurant, there are already where you can see the silhouettes of palms. There is a sea already. And before it was a road where people were coming and sitting like a market. It was open market. People were selling their stuff, offering their services. So that's the picture that was an announce of today's walk. And I like this view a lot. Usually it's also a bit busy because they have more chairs and more people here. Talking about nightlife, it's also happening here. But we have to turn a bit. So now we're going to see the most ancient street of Limassol. And it's called, here we will see Lutron Street. Lutron Street, which translated as bath. Oh, no, we cannot pass here. Unfortunately, they're also doing some, oh, maybe we can. They also do renovation here. So this street, in 16th century, it was a street with Turkish baths here. Because people didn't have hot water in their houses and they had to take care of their hygiene. So they were coming here and taking baths, looking at each other, showing themselves and so on. So it was like kind of a place of socializing back in 16th century. Now the street is also run down, apart from this rock club, where actually I also haven't been, but maybe I have to go one day after everything will be over. There we have a bit more life with the cars and so on. But soon we'll again disappear in a small street. It feels, of course, a bit strange to go and talk like I'm talking to myself. But I like to see your comments that you're there and watching and listening, so not that I'm completely cuckoo and talking to myself and to my phone. So right behind this corner is a big cathedral. Look at this, I find it's very beautiful. It's an upper cathedral. Oh, we can even come closer. It's open. So it was built in, enjoy the view because now I will come closer and it won't be fully in the picture. So it was built in 1903 because Cypriots are very religious people. If you will pass by any church, I really won't go inside because I don't want to talk on the phone there, but maybe let's try to. I will try to keep myself quiet and maybe show you something. And then I will tell you the story of this place. No, we cannot enter because there is a stop signs here yet, so it's still the quarantine measures. So, Cypriots are very religious people, and if you pass by any church on Sunday, for example, there will be a lot of people, all the holidays they celebrate, and it's a days off, and it's very, very famous, and they do christenings and they do weddings in church, and it's very religious people. And before, on this place, there was a small church, and at some point, the town grew so big that people wouldn't fit in the small church. So the government had to knock it down and build a bigger one. And first, people were quite upset because they liked the small church, but what to do? They had to get used to the big one, but I think it just looked very beautiful. I'm not a big fan of religious places, but this one is just fantastic. So it's in 1903 it was built, in 1906 it was open, but for me it always looked like very new. As long as in Cyprus a lot of places are run down, I'm always impressed. This church looks like it was built maximum 10 years ago. It's very, very unusual that here they don't have chairs and tables where people can sit. I really forgot how empty the town could be. Usually I think even during the winter season it looks like that only when it's very early morning, or actually yes, that's all I think. Only in the early morning it's not operating. I see we have more new people joining us. That's nice. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's a lot of houses like two store buildings, And do you hear me? And do you see still? Because I have my phone somehow told me that it was reconnecting. So I hope you're still online. Give me a sign of life, please. Otherwise, I feel that I'm again talking to myself. So yeah, about this building, there's the 2 floors. It's English style building. Okay, I see the heart. That's fine. So on the first floor, it used to be shops, like it's now, and on the second building, the owners of the shop were living. So yeah, now it's not the most stunning street, but again, it's just because I don't know why people are not really taking care of their houses. Okay, I know that it's quite expensive in the old city because all communications, like all this gas and electricity and water and so on, it's very old and it takes a lot of money to renovate it. But still, it's pity that government also doesn't do anything. And that actually, like this building, it was renovated, but then again, people came and spoil it with the graffiti, because sometimes they have a nice drawings like this one, the cat lovers. You probably will like it. But so I want to tell you about this building. Talking about renovation, this building was bought by a family and they spent 3 years renovating it. Because of the communications, it took so much time, and also because they wanted to save the appearance of the building, but to add some modern features like to have a car park and so on, because when the building was built, of course no one was thinking about cars and so on. And it was renovating so nicely that it even took a prize in some designing awards. So that's quite cool. That's the building, that's the street, and we're heading further, and we will see. It's my favorite cafe, by the way. Also still closed, but it's from Thursday. At least the verandas will be open, and I'm already very excited to walk there. Like, we're heading to the graffiti water. As you may see, the blue picture, they already showed you that we are close. So the graffiti in Limassol, the story goes like that in 2007, so it's already 13 years ago, people established the youth festival here. So the festival that should promote all the sports and graffiti and all that, like a festival for young people, and to show that they're not useless just running around, do nothing or do some strange stuff, but what they do also can be nice, interesting, and effective. This is one of the pictures. This one hasn't been changed for 2 years. The festival usually taking place in May. This year, of course, we skipped it. Look, I like actually this shop as well. It's very like a lot of clothes from 80s, second-hand shop, but very nice. So yeah, the festival usually takes place in May, but this time they skipped it, and I think they didn't reschedule it, so they just skipped, and it's also you have to wait for the next year. So usually this square, that's actually a good question about authorities. I am not sure about authorities in Cyprus. Are not really taking care of many things. I will find out, actually. I don't know if there is a rule, because I know that some countries there is a rule. I'm not sure about Cyprus, but I will check. So the story goes like this, that this square, they usually repaint it white, and on the festival, like each artist gets its spot, and they paint new pictures. Like a year ago, in 2018, all this wall, like all this one, was made by 5 artists, but they did a one picture. So they drew some figure, another one drew another figure. So that's how it was. This time everyone has a different one. So that's like that. So when the festival is going on, they're closing the part of the old city completely, and the BMXers are doing things, the rollerbladers, the skateboarders, and they have concerts here, they have a stage, they have a market of the handmade things, and so on. It's Limassol in Cyprus, the second biggest city in Cyprus, by the way, after Nicosia one. But not only we have graffiti that changes every year. Unfortunately, I cannot. No, I can enlarge. So that's a graffiti of a Nepalese woman, and it was done by one of the most famous artists. His nickname is Paparazzi. He's living now in Cyprus, and he did a lot of famous pictures, not only in Limassol, but also in Larnaca and in Nicosia and all over. He has his own studio, and he was like a pioneer of graffiti here. He was showing that it's not a vandalism, that it can also be art. Oh, cool. So we have international company here to watch my work. Well, actually, my last graffiti stop will be around the corner of this place. This one is, of course, nice. It's a souvlaki. Souvlaki is a traditional Cyprus food. It's like a shashlik. In Russian, so it's a piece of meat on a stick. It can be made of chicken, of pork, of any meat, so that you can get here. But look at this graffiti. Wait, I will come closer. So it's also made by Paparazzi. So it's a whole wall, like of the people living here. I don't know actually why so many graffiti in Limassol. I think because it's a festival, because people think that it's allowed. So, I mean, people see that government supports the festival and they think that it's a good idea to draw something. Maybe because there are also a lot of young people in Limassol, and mostly young people doing graffiti, at least for now, because it's quite a new thing in life. But actually, we have a lot of graffiti everywhere. So, I mean, in Nicosia, in Larnaca, and in Ayanapa, we even have a Yuri Gagarin, the Russian cosmonaut, also drawn by Paparazzi. So here they enlarge now the area of graffiti, because that square is too small now for the young generation of artists. So again, look, there is many of those. Yeah, now it's not as active there. Okay, I was planning to go here, but looks like I might get wet. Will you let me pass? Yeah. Here is going a lot of renovation. It's also, I'm talking about nightlife, that's also a nightlife spot. So here, if you come again closer to the evening for the dinner, it will be many people sitting here and enjoying the evening. Actually, it's a Polo Square. Let me first show, because this building is under renovation. It's also an interesting one. For now we are allowed to walk anywhere as from 4th of May. We don't have restrictions that we have to walk only in our area. Now we can walk all over the town. We cannot go to another town though. But we cannot gather more than 2 people. So actually we are gathering now more, but you are all online, so it's okay. But I'm walking alone. So look, that's a market. The market was built in 1940 approximately, because also the government wanted to centralize the shopping area. It was growing each time. Every year they were building some additional rooms, but of course at some point the city grew so much that it was not enough, and at end of 1990s the market was pretty much not working, and now they're renovating it. You probably know that in big cities I was in Lisbon and Time Out, in Moscow it's the Port. They do this nice area where you have all these food courts and cute shops and something like that. So let's see what will happen. For now it's still under renovation. They're supposed to be open on 1st of March, but I doubt if they were ready to. So let's see how it will work. And Polo Square for me, I strongly associate it with the carnival. Yeah, so let's walk and I will tell you about the carnival. Carnival takes place in Limassol 10 days before the fasting. Fasting, it's called yen religious, when you had a long time when you are not allowed to eat meat. And yes, I can quickly show myself if you know. Yeah, I have sunglasses because we have a very strong sun still, and actually for the last couple of, I don't know, for the few days of we have more than 40 degrees outside. It's only now it's more or less okay because it's evening already. The sea renovation is going on in a full swing, so hopefully soon we'll be back to a normal life. So yeah, carnival starts 10 days before the fasting, and the first day is called Synknopempty, which is like steamy Thursday. So on this day, everywhere they do the suvla, and it smells like meat all over Limassol and pretty much all over Cyprus. So it's a crazy day, and people try to eat as much as they can before they would be able to. And at Seripolo Square, where we just were, is full of people. I mean, it's like a peak time in Moscow metro where you cannot get through the crowd because there are so many people. So I love these small shops. In Limassol here I actually bought my perfect jeans. So now I suggest all people not to go to the malls if they want to do shopping, but to try to check all the small things around. That's actually also a new graffiti. It was a unicorn before, now they decided to do a golden fish. So that's a little house for cats, donated by the Little Monsters pet shop. It's also a nice little shop with different cute things. So they have all the figurines and picture frames and even some clothes. I didn't have clothes before. Maybe I need to go and check again. And unfortunately, I know this one moved, so they not that they didn't survive, they moved to another street. So and we are going to University Square. We have a few universities in Cyprus. It's an old city of Limassol. We are strolling around. So we have a few universities in Cyprus, but as far as I know, still people prefer to send their kids away to Europe, to England, or to States to study. Because in Cyprus it's again so actually Cyprus so means etsi-ketsi, and I think it's a cute expression. So that's a University Square. University is technological university, but they have a different disciplines. They have designers and people who work with planting stuff, and really like mathematicians and stuff, and many disciplines here. Recently they demolished the building that was behind the green fence, and now we have a nice view on this building, about which I will tell you in a second. And again, that's a university, and that's a municipality where I did a few wedding photo shoots, again before the lockdown, and I really hope that this year we will have more weddings again. So this house is the house of one rich family of Limassol, Lanitis family. It's an example of the 19th century architecture, and it was the first building in Limassol with which were the consulate. So it's Netherlands and Belgium there. Okay, yeah, again. So now it's not the place where this family is living. Now it's a kind of a business place. So when you walk here during the working hours, sometimes very strict businessmen are coming out of these doors. Actually, I passed the clock already, but I think they're showing the right time, so it should be 5:40 as we have. Actually, I think we'll have 10 more minutes. By the way, let me tell, because now I think we'll have kind of a boring way till the end of the old town, and I will tell the story about the cats. So when you will come to Cyprus, and I hope you will see a lot of cats on the streets. And the story goes that in 3rd century there was not enough water on the island, and it was so bad that people were even trying to escape from the Cyprus because they were dying. And when it's very dry, snakes are getting here. I think we're getting here, and we had a lot of snakes. And that time the Saint Elena came, and she was very impressed by the amount of snakes, and she told, like, you need to have cats. And she sent 1,000 cats on the ship and tell that people need to build a monastery for the cats. And it was built. It's now located in Akrotiri Island. It's the monastery of the Saint Nicolaus. And they still actually, why cats? Because cats eat snakes, and it's really true. Still, even now, we have snakes still here in Cyprus. People who live not in the city but somewhere in a rural area, they experience it a lot, and they say that cats are really eating them, especially if cats are not very overfed at home, then they're fine. Yes, actually business opened already, but most of them have restrictions on the door, like not more than 1 or 2 people inside, because we have restriction per 1 person for 8 square meters. So that's a nice place where you can get a lot of Cyprus delights, like cheese and sweets and olive oil. And usually when you come in, they give you to try something, like piece of this, piece of that, but now everything is under cellophane, so it looks like it's not working anymore. For me, it was a small life hack. When I was very full and I want something sweet, I went there just to grab a piece of something sweet. Yeah, so it looks like that. And some businesses are closed, but some of working. Actually, it's also that Cyprus has a strange time of working. Like most of the places work only half day on Wednesdays, for example, because they also work half day on Saturday. So which makes a full day, and they work in total 5 full days. And as long as now there is not so many tourists and not so many locals as well, I think some places prefer not to open at all, at least for now, in order not to waste their time and time of the workers. Bardello is just a restaurant. It's a nightclub, and when it was building, people were very excited, and they were thinking that it will be something naughty, but no. At least I don't know any naughty stories from there. I haven't been inside. I saw only pictures, and my friends were there, and it's nothing to be called Bardello. Let me walk you to the sea, and I think there we will finish because we don't have that much time, and to the next interesting spot it will be too long to go. So if you like my walk, you can send a message to locally, and maybe we'll cooperate again, and I will show you something else. But for now, we are going to the sea, so you can see that all city is located more or less next to the water. And that's why I like to choose this route, because when I do fly, then we cover many different locations. And as long as I do pictures on the way, it's cool for tourists that they get a lot of different pictures, and we do it in 2 hours altogether. You can see that it's very strange that children's playgrounds are closed. Okay, I will be naughty and I will cross without a traffic light, which means that there will be no police officers around. Yeah, so playgrounds are still closed, but the malls, it's our promenade, where also the life runs most of the time, because there are people doing sports. In the mornings there are a lot of joggers, and now you can see there are people doing the bicycle, and they for sure run somewhere, and people walk pets and go out just to drink a coffee, because there are a few cafes. And that's how it looks like. Some people say that it looks like Miami. I don't know, I haven't been to Miami. but probably because the palms. Actually, I should have seen Miami this April, but because the lockdown, we missed everything, so everything is still ahead. That's how it looks like. If you go that way, you will see the old port. Unfortunately, I won't do, because then I will run out of time already and it will be too fast. And that way there is a Limassol. I will show you the view on the city. Now we have a lot of towers building. Hopefully you will see them. Let me try to show. People are complaining. Most of the people complaining about these buildings because, as you may notice, that Cyprus, that Limassol is quite, actually not only Limassol, the Cyprus overall is quite a short building city. But now they're having those buildings to be built. And of course, this spoils the view. They don't match, for my liking, not only for my liking, to the overview of the city, but no one asks us about the opinion. So I think here we will finish. Enjoy the sea. So I'm very happy that you spent your evening with me today. I was very happy to show you Limassol. And peak temperature during summer. Actually, peak temperature I think we have now. It can be more than 40 degrees. And for the last couple of days we had already 42, 43. It's unusual for me. It shouldn't be like that, but I don't know what happened. The temperature is going crazy. So yeah. So if you will ever come to Limassol or to Cyprus, I will be very happy if you will meet with me, if you will decide to do a photo shoot or going for a photo walk, and if you will want to know something new about the island, I will be very happy to show it to you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to get to know you, to spend time with you, and hopefully see you soon.